Kindlekid presents The Girl Who Never Made Mistake. For Beatrice Bottomwell, Friday began like any other day. She matched her socks. And, of course, she put her shoes on their proper feet. She remembered to feed her hamster, Humbert, his favorite food, broccoli. And when she made a sandwich for her brother Carl's lunch, she used exactly the same amount of peanut butter as jelly. When she stepped outside to greet her fans, she didn't forget to say good morning and thank you. They asked if she made her bed. She had. They asked if she forgot to do her math homework. Nope. What about tonight's talent show? They asked. I'm ready, said Beatrice with a smile. After all, her juggling act had won 3 years in a row. Most people in town didn't even know Beatrice's name. They just called her the girl who never makes mistakes. Because for as long as anyone could remember, she never did. Like Beatrice, Carl made lots of mistakes. He ate his crayons and drew with his green beans. He danced with his hands and played the piano with his feet. Carl loved to make mistakes. At school, Beatrice was on a cooking team with her 2 best friends, Millie and Sarah. To make their giant rhubarb muffins, they needed 4 eggs. Beatrice went to the refrigerator and carefully chose the biggest, eggiest eggs she could find. But on the way back, her legs slipped out from under her. The eggs went flying. Beatrice was about to make her first mistake. But she didn't. That was close, thought Beatrice. Sorry Beatrice, I dropped a piece of rhubarb. Auntie. Entie on it. Illy. For the rest of the school day, Beatrice could not stop thinking about her almost mistake. On her way home from school, Beatrice watched Millie and Sarah ice skating in the park. Come join us, said Millie. It's fun, said Sarah. Beatrice watched them slip and slide on the frozen pond. Millie and Sarah laughed as they wobbled on the ice. No, thanks, said Beatrice. At supper, Beatrice barely touched her food. Is everything all right, kiddo? Asked her father. I'm worried I'll mess up tonight, said Beatrice. And everyone will be watching. Worry? You don't make mistakes, he said with a smile. Beatrice tried to smile too. After supper, Beatrice got ready for the talent show. First, she woke Humbert from his nap. Next, she got the salt shaker from the kitchen table. Finally, she filled a balloon with water. The school auditorium was packed. Beatrice felt her stomach jumping around inside her. Beatrice waited for her juggling music to begin. That's her. That's the girl who never makes mistakes, said a woman. Oh, we know she'll be perfect, said a man. When the music started, she tossed Humbert into the air. Next, she added the salt shaker. And finally, the water balloon. Beatrice didn't miss a beat. The crowd clapped with delight. But Beatrice noticed something odd about the salt shaker. The specks falling out of it were not white. Arch. Oh! Humbert was so surprised by his sneeze that he grabbed the water balloon with his claws. Kablooey! Humbert, pieces of water balloon, and the pepper rained down on top of Beatrice. For the first time in as long as anyone could remember, Beatrice made a mistake. And it was a big one. The music stopped. Beatrice didn't know what to do. Cry. Run off the stage. The crowd sat stunned. They couldn't believe that the girl who never makes mistakes made a mistake. Beatrice looked up at Humbert. He looked back at her. His hamster fur was soaked and speckled with bits of balloon. Beatrice let out a giggle. The giggle grew into a chuckle. And the chuckle became a laugh. The people in the crowd looked at each other and then back at Beatrice. They began to giggle. Then chuckle. Then, finally, roar with laughter. Beatrice and the audience laughed until they couldn't remember why they were laughing. That night, Beatrice slept better than she ever had. In the morning, no fans greeted Beatrice. When she got dressed, Beatrice, for no reason at all, put a polka dot sock on one foot and a plaid sock on the other. Beatrice and Carl made sandwiches. This time, they put the peanut butter and jelly on the outside. They called it an inside-out PB&J. Lunch was messy and delicious. Later, Beatrice found Millie and Sarah skating in the park. They fell a lot. And laughed. Now, people no longer call her the girl who never makes mistakes. They just call her Beatrice. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe the channel. Kindlekid presents A Tale of Two Feathers.
One starry night, Otis Owl was sitting high in the trees, hunting for a tasty mouse. Suddenly, he spotted a shiny blue feather. "I've never seen this sort of feather before," he thought. "I wonder who it belongs to." He asked his friend, Navila Nightjar, "Have you seen any birds with feathers like this?" "I've never seen this sort of feather before," said Navila. "Why don't you ask Nigel Nightingale?" Otis took the feather to his friend, Nigel Nightingale. "Have you seen any birds with feathers like this?" he asked. "I've never seen this sort of feather before," said Nigel. "Why don't you ask Candace Corncrake?" Otis flew to see his friend, Candace Corncrake. "Have you seen any birds with feathers like this?" he asked. "I've never seen this sort of feather before," said Candace. "Why don't you get some rest and search some more tomorrow night?" The sun was starting to rise and the night was nearly over. Otis returned to his tree and settled down to sleep. That morning, Kia Kingfisher was sitting by the river, searching for a delicious minnow. Suddenly, she spotted a stripy white feather. "I don't know any birds with feathers like this," she thought. "I wonder where it came from." She asked her friend, Wilma Woodpecker, "Do you know who might have dropped this feather?" "I don't know any birds with feathers like this," said Wilma. "Why don't you ask Billy Bluetit?" Kia took the white feather to her friend, Billy Bluetit. "Do you know who might have dropped this feather?" she asked. "I don't know any birds with feathers like this," said Billy. "Why don't you ask Bertie Bullfinch?" Kia flew to see her friend, Bertie Bullfinch. "Do you know who might have dropped this feather?" she asked. "I don't know any birds with feathers like this," said Bertie. "Why don't you get some rest and search some more?" In the morning, the sun had begun to set and the day was nearly over. Exhausted, Kia settled down on a branch to rest. The sun disappeared and the forest became dark. Otis woke up, ready for another night of searching for the mysterious bird. He stepped out of his nest and was met by the most unusual sight. Right in front of his beak, sitting on his very own branch, was a bird with shiny blue feathers. it's you. Otis hooted. What? Who? Shrieked Kia. She stared at the bird that had interrupted her sleep. It was a bird with stripy white feathers. Oh, it's you. I've been looking everywhere for you, the two birds said at the same time. What are you doing out at night? Asked Kia. Well, this is when I am awake, said Otis, confused. Awake at night, said Kia. But then what do you do during the day? Well, I sleep, of course, said Otis. Suddenly, the mystery was solved. This was why they had never met before. Otis had always thought that everyone slept during the day, while Kia had not realized that some animals only come out at night. Come on, said Otis. Let me show you my world. The two new friends flew through the forest, feeling very glad to have finally found each other. Wow, gasped Kia. Everything looks so different at night time. I can't wait to see what it looks like in the daylight, said Otis. Let's meet again tomorrow, suggested Kia, and I can show you my world. Kindlekid presents Little Red Riding Hood.
Once upon a time there was a girl called Little Red Riding Hood. She lived with her mother in a village near a forest. One day, Little Red Riding Hood went to visit her grandmother. She took a basket of food with her. On her way, Little Red Riding Hood met a wolf.
Hello. Where are you going?
I'm going to visit my grandmother who lives in the forest.
The wolf ran to her grandmother's house. He went inside and locked her in the wardrobe. He put on her nightgown and got into her bed. A little later, Little Red Riding Hood came to the house. She knocked on the door, then went inside. Little Red Riding Hood went over to grandmother's bed.
Oh Granny, what big ears you have.
All the better to hear you with.
Oh Granny, what big eyes you have.
All the better to see you with.
Oh Granny, what big teeth you have.
All the better to eat you with.
Help! Shouted Little Red Riding Hood as she realized that there was a wolf in her grandmother's bed. She ran out of the house. A woodcutter was nearby. He heard Little Red Riding Hood scream and ran to the house. The woodcutter hit the wolf over the head. The wolf ran away, and Little Red Riding Hood never saw him again. Later, the girl and her grandmother thanked the woodcutter, and the wolf never returned. Thank you for watching the video. See you next time.
Kindlekid presents The Boy Who Cried Wolf. There was once a boy who looked after sheep. The boy was bored. One day, he played a trick on the villagers. The boy cried out that there was a wolf attacking his sheep, even though there wasn't. The villagers came up the hill to save the sheep. When they got there, there was no wolf. The boy laughed at them. "You must not tell lies," said the villagers. They went back to the village. Soon the boy was bored again. He shouted, "Wolf! Wolf!" The villagers rushed up the hill to save the sheep. When they got there, there was no wolf again. The boy laughed at them again. "You must not tell lies," shouted the villagers. They went back down to the village. Later that day, a wolf did come into the field. The boy shouted and shouted, "Wolf! Wolf!" This time no one came to help, and the wolf ate all of the sheep. The moral of the story is, if you tell lies, people won't believe you when you do tell the truth. Thank you for watching the video. This is end of the story. See you next time.
Kindlekid.